The army of Satan, materialism. Yeah, that is actually a problem these days, materialism. Everyone gets judged by what they own and what they earn, right? Like, oh, what car are you driving? Let me see your house. Oh, you live in this house. Wow. Wait, you're broke, you're poor, you're nobody. You know, it's like that actually these days. Like materialism has become an issue in our society. Let's have a look at this one.
A tendency to consider material possessions and physical comfort as
Bitcoin.
more important than spiritual values is called materialism. Iblis is expert in what he is doing. He knows very well how to delude people and make them far from reality of this life, which is the true obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And since he has opened up a challenge with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he asked him for power over mankind in order to prove that human beings are lower than him and his progeny. Now bear in mind that we are being tested through three major elements. First, our nafs, which is the subject that has desires. Second, shaitan,
Yeah, the whispers.
which gives our nafs the temptation for achieving the false desires.
Yeah, let me give you guys an example. Like, okay, let's say you see this very, very, very nice house somewhere, right? And you can actually buy this house as a Muslim, but it comes with riba, right? And riba is actually a sin. You're not allowed to have anything with interest, with riba in Islam, right? But Shaitan will say, oh, it's just a riba for some years. You will just pay this off. You will do this and that, and you will be done with it, right? Or same when it comes to zina, right? Oh, there's this beautiful woman. You can do zina with her. You can do always tawbah later, right? Because Allah is the all-forgiving. You can have this one accident. It's okay. And tomorrow you do tawbah or something. Like, this is the whispers of Shaitan, actually. Or lie to your friend to have some benefit or this and that, right? Like, I can give you countless examples about like daily life situations where you have whispers. But yeah, this with zina is pretty common, right? You see someone good looking and oh, you can have one time with this person, then do tawbah. Or you want to buy a car or a house, but it has like a lot of interest, right? And there's riba involved. So yeah, you have to be careful with that because those whispers come from Shaitan. Or lie to your parents to get more money or something, right? Like there are such things as well, right? When it comes to like family situations where also Shaitan tries to break families.
And third, the dunya, which is the illusory nature of the world.
Yeah.
This dunya is the arena of test, and it has everything in it. It has temporary pleasures which are there just for a testing purpose. As a human being, we are supposed to live in this world, but we should prepare ourselves for hereafter. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created everything and put rules for us how to live in this world and how to use its elements.
In a halal way.
These rules are the red lines which we should not cross them. But Shaitan hates those red lines and wants us to cross them.
Yeah.
That's why with all power and wealth that he has been given, he wants us to fall for this dunya. Therefore, he gives us false promises which will never come true, but hook us to be attached to the materialistic world. And through this extreme love for the materialistic world, people will be exposed to haram desires.
Yeah, the iman will weaken.
Almost the entire humanity is being drowned in swamp of materialism. Do you think it's by chance that people are lost in this materialistic world?
No. It's a secret agenda by Shaitan.
There are people who are working on the background of the system to make you a slave.
Yeah, if you look at like the industry and stuff, right? Let me give you guys a very, very, very good example that I think everyone here has come across. If you haven't come across that, then please tell me where you are living, which country, because I'm going to do a hijra to there. Like, seriously. The best example for this is, how often have we witnessed a car advertisement of a new sports car, and there's this fitna woman, right? Like this woman barely wearing anything, and she's like maybe leaning against the car or something, right? And you see this, and like, oh wait, when I buy this car, do I get this woman too with the car? Or what? Like, seriously, like this is what's happening, right? Or there was something actually that I've experienced in Taiwan on a trip when I went to Asia for the first time. So I was once traveling to Taipei, Taiwan, and there were like phone shops everywhere and even some game stores. And I've noticed something very suspicious about those stores. There were a lot of women working there with mini skirts, and I tried to lower my gaze, look somewhere else, but when I turned my head, they were there again, and they were there because all the shops there with electronic devices, and I'm not sure if this is also in like other Asian countries the case, but in Taiwan it's like that. Maybe it's the same in like Japan, but they actually look for young, attractive women to sell their products. So there is like some temptation maybe for like men, so they entered the shop, right, because of those women, and with the hope that they actually buy some products. This is the same with cars, and this is like a secret agenda by those companies even that try to benefit from haram, right? Like, if you're a righteous person and you are a Muslim that owns a shop, you will never let a half-naked women sell your products, because you know this is temptation, you are getting to the desires of men, and this is haram and this and that, right? But like, people do this, like I said, the car advertisements are filled with this. Or for example, there are certain advertisements also for like gambling. I see them a lot actually here in Germany. Like, gambling has become a bit of an issue, like especially like sports bets for like soccer matches, and they're actually now selling the sport bets as if you do this you become a wealthy man here. I've seen this before. I've seen advertisements where someone was betting on sports, and then they claimed, oh, I made so much money, da, da, da. So yeah, the industry is working from behind the screen, trying to get people become their materialistic slaves, their customers, basically.
Slave who's thirsty for reaching his desires. Or in other words, they are putting efforts to make you a slave of your own desires.
That's what I said.
And on the back of the dollar bill, there's a seal on this side. It's called the Great Seal of the United States.
Oh, now Illuminati comes.
It's their seal. Now, behind the seal, this is actually what is behind the Great Seal.
I've heard
of
this
the
many
United
times
States
before.
Is a pyramid with one eye.
Yeah, and they're saying it's Illuminati, right?
Now, the one eye is the sun god Re, which is where we get the word rays, sun rays. It is the sun god, same Mithraic character, and he shows up again and again. This is the Masonic god of the
Shaitan.
If you look, you'll see the pyramid is
Firaun.
built except for the top. It's built except for the top.
That's actually
the eye
scary,
is suspended
right?
above the top. It hasn't come down yet. Because they believe until they finished the Masonic project, which is the what they say on the bottom, Novus Ordo Seclorum, and then Annuetta Cheptis, he is pleased with our project. In other words, the God they believe in is pleased with our project. What is the project? This is the question. What is the project that this God is pleased with? The project is literally the secularization of the world. To completely strip the world from religious beliefs.
We see this, unfortunately. Like, religion is on a decline. Like, even the younger folks that grow up these days, like, it's actually sad to admit, but even like a lot of younger Muslims, they don't even know how to pray the correct way, and they don't visit even masjids, right? Because they're being led astray, especially here in the West. But I've experienced the same, especially with like religions like Christianity and even Judaism, right? Like, people are no longer even following their religious roots or practicing the religion. So yeah, and you know, it's like scary about like the dollar bill here, right? Like a pyramid. If you're thinking about the United States of America, like, who thinks about freaking pyramids? We are not in Egypt, we are in the United States. Like, when I first heard about this Illuminati sort of conspiracy theory and I saw this pyramid, I was thinking, like, this is the first thing that crossed my mind. what the heck do pyramids have to do with the United States? I don't ever know in history that there was ever a pyramid in the United States. Do you have those Inca sort of thingies in like Southern America, right? Where they are like pyramid kind of structures. Yeah, you do have that, right? You have like the Maya, the Inca, this and that, and whatever those tribes were called back in the day. Like even like Brazil, you had some cults, but they don't have a pyramid that looks like that. That is like the Egyptian style pyramid, right? So this freaked me totally out when I actually saw this. I was like, wait, what the heck?
Is the project, and that is why it is called Novus Ordo Seclorum, a new secular or worldly order. If you translate that into Arabic, it would be a Nizam al-Alami ad-Dunyawi, not al-Jadid. It would be a Dunyawi, the new temporal order, the new order of the world. And we know what dunya is in Arabic. Dunya has a negative connotation in Islam.
Yeah.
Unlike alam, which does not have a negative connotation. If you read the Quran, alam is not a negative connotation. Rabb al-Alameen. Allah is Lord of the Alameen.
Yeah.
We are part of the alam. The alam is the passive form of alim. It's what is known. It is how we know al-alim. The world is how we know Allah. We don't know Allah through dunya. Dunya is the illusory nature of the world. It's the gharura, it's the aspect of the world that deludes you, thinking that you're permanent, thinking that you can transgress, thinking that you're independent from Allah. This is the dunya. This is why the wife is not considered dunya, and the husband for the wife is not considered dunya. And food in order to keep your body healthy is not considered dunya. Money in order to work and spend on the halal and do your responsibilities, none of those things by Islamic understanding are considered dunya. Dunya is the illusory element of the world. It's that element that takes people away from the akhirah. And this is shaitan's game. Shaitan's game is to take people away. Shaitana means to make distant. Dunya is near. He makes us feel that dunya is what is close, not akhirah. Islam tells us dunya is distant. One of the root meanings of dunya is to reach out for grapes that you can never grasp. Because this is the nature of dunya. You will never be able to get it. It will always evade you. The Prophet ﷺ said in a hadith sahih that's in the Riyadh al-Salihin, he said, if the son of Adam
was given a valley out of gold, right?
If the son of Adam had one mountain of gold, he would only want a second one. لا يمنع فاء ابن آدم إلا تراب قبره. Nothing will fill. Or لا يشبع ابن آدم. Ibn Adam will never be satiated. His mouth will never be filled except with the dust of his own grave.
Yeah.
This is a deluded person.
But wait a second, was it mountain? I think I read it was a valley full of gold. But maybe in the valleys also mountain. Maybe there are like actually two hadiths like that, right? But the one that I read said not mountain out of gold, but valley out of gold. And then nothing will satisfy the son of Adam except the dust of the grave, yeah.
لا يغرنك بالله الغرور. Don't let the deluder delude you. Don't let the deluder delude you. Don't let him think that this dunya is what is important. The message of Islam is the akhirah is important.
That's true.
Because we are heading towards the akhirah. We are heading away from the dunya. The akhirah in Arabic is called ajila because it only is realized through the ajal. Everybody has an appointed ajal. Allah will not delay this ajal.
Yeah, it's already written.
Allah will not delay it. When it comes to the nafs, Allah will not delay it. This is what the shaitan wants to make people believe. This is what the dunya wants to make people believe. That when you go into the malls, right, in America, the malls literally are telling people there's no time. You see, it's like Disneyland. If you go to Disneyland, which is part of the importing of the American religion.
You know what's also dangerous about this? If you go to like a busy city, you have so much distraction. You have there a store with fitna, and you have like those advertisements. You have it there and there. And people are even stressing on the street. They are like rushing from A to B in like a heartbeat. And you can like already feel that there's like so much distraction that you sometimes like, you know, it's like dangerous if you go shopping, and you have to be very careful as a Muslim. And I'm not sure if this is like also a hidden agenda, but if you go shopping and you get like some sort of addiction or you're stuck there, there's always a risk, especially as a Muslim, that you miss a prayer even. Like, I was once with a group of people and we went shopping and we were all Muslims, right? And they wanted to go from store to store. And I looked at the time like, oh, Asr is happening soon, right? Like, we should look for a masjid. And they wanted to keep going shopping. And because there was like such a busy city there, like it was so much going on and so many advertisements, they nearly actually did not make it to the train to the masjid or somewhere, right? So I'm like, guys, look at the time. We have to go back, right? But yeah, this is also dangerous because you do forget about religion if you're going shopping, especially if there's like so much distraction. Sometimes you have also those songs playing very, very loud at shops, and they're doing this on purpose because if there's like loud music in a shop, like a clothing store, like music is also an addiction, right? Like people can get addicted to music. So if there's like loud music playing in a clothing store, like people will go into that store because of the music, and sometimes they will stay longer in there because of a certain song or something. Like, yeah, it's a lot of distraction going on there.
Mickey Mouse is probably going to be with the idols in hell, burnt like these other idols, because it's the seal of goodness in their deen. If you go to Disneyland in the United States, it says, you leave today and enter the world of yesterday and tomorrow. What is that? That's delusion. People live in the past and the future. Muslims are people live in the present, right?
Yeah.
We remember now. Dhikr is not remembering the past. It's remembering Allah, which Allah is reality. Allah has no past and no future. Allah is reality. This is what Muslims remember. We remember quite literally the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Al-habara huwa ma'akum aynama kuntum. Allah is with you wherever you go with His knowledge.
Yeah.
This is the dhikr of the Muslims. We literally remember
in
Allah
everything.
subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? We do dhikr to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
And that is true. Like, so as a Muslim, what do you say before you eat? You say Bismillah. What do you say if you sneeze, for example? You say Alhamdulillah, right? Like, even before you perform the ablution, right? Like wudu, what do you say? You say Bismillah, right? What do you say if you greet someone? You say Assalamu alaikum. What does this mean, right? Think about it. So we are doing dhikr all the time. As a Muslim, everything we do can be considered a form of dhikr even, because you're always using something related to Allah, right? Like I said, what does Bismillah mean? It means in the name of Allah, right? Or what do you say if you see something that's beautiful? You say MashaAllah, right? So yeah, that's also a form of dhikr, because you keep saying something related to Allah when you do something or when you see something beautiful. Or if something is like wow and you get shocked, you say Subhanallah, right? So yeah, this is what makes us Muslims different from the atheist, because if an atheist eats something, he says nothing while eating, he just eats. He doesn't say Bismillah. If atheist sneezes, or Christian, they don't say Alhamdulillah, they will not say Yahamukallah, they will not say Yahdikumullahu wa yusli balakum, they will not say that. So yeah, this is why we Muslims, we live with Allah in our life.
Liquor to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These other people drink liquor to forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? They want to forget because it's too painful. Once they start seeing things, they did a study, Omni magazine in the United States. 80% in this study, right? They love statistics. 80% of the people in their study that meditated, in other words, they closed their eyes, turn off the radio, turn off the TV, turn off the music. They closed their eyes, not to go to sleep, but just to still their thoughts. 80% had anxiety attack.
Wow.
This is true. And that's why they pump music in. Years ago, I was in England, and there was a farm, and and I heard this rock and roll music blasting. And I went with somebody to see what it was. It was a pig farm. And they play the music for the pigs because they eat more.
Subhanallah.
That's what the farmer told us. He said they eat more with rock music, they eat less with classical music. So they play rock music for them to eat more, to get fatter so they can sell them. This is what they do here. They play them all this music. They found, this is not a joke, When you go into store, I don't know, do they do this here? They play music in the stores?
Yes, they do here.
You know why they do that? They did studies and found people stay longer. They graze like animals.
That's exactly what I said. They will look for like new popular songs or those that sound very party-like or something, right? Like you will hear maybe in a nightclub, and they play it, and then people will actually sometimes go to that shop because, oh, that's my tune, like that's my song, I go in or something. A'udhu billah. But this is what they do there at stores. This is true.
Allah says, "Hum kal an'am." They're like cattle grazing. بَلْ هُمْ أَضَلُّوا سَبِيلًا. They're even more astray than cattle. Why? Because a cow, if it sees a car coming for it, it's going to get out of the road.
Yeah, same with cats.
I mean, the cow is not going to hang around.
Because it's danger.
Right? But these people let them literally slaughter them. They go to the slaughter singing. Like the people, really, and I've said this before, the state of the world right now, we're like, you know the Titanic? The Titanic, this is what we're on. We're on the Titanic. Welcome to the Titanic. We're on it. And they're driving it. Oh, the Muslims are downstairs in the hull. We're not even on the deck. We're in the hull.
We're not even seeing
and they're driving
the
it.
issue.
And they're headed right for the iceberg.
Yeah, we don't see the iceberg.
And they're saying, this is an unsinkable ship.
Yeah, if you use this metaphor here with this is an unsinkable ship, you can also compare this in the life that our life is not ending now, right? Like people think they're gonna live until an old age and they have a guaranteed 5 or 10 years in the future at least, right? Like even some Muslims, may Allah protect us from this, Ameen, they actually think they can do tawbah later because they're still young. And that is actually so wrong. There are people, they just die randomly. I've seen like clips of people, they recite the Quran, they just pass away, right? I've seen a guy working at a shop, at a store. I think it was a phone shop. It looked like that, at least in the video. And he was waiting for a customer, and he suddenly just passed out and died on the spot. And he looked like he was like in his late 20s, early 30s. So he was not old. He was like maybe late 20s, right? And this guy just died. I had like a friend of mine back in the day. He had a haram relationship. He was just 16 years old, guys. He had a haram relationship. And now this shocking thing comes. This person had a haram relationship with another guy. So it was like a love triangle, basically. And they met to fight each other over the girl. And this guy brought other friends. And they were smashing on my friend. And beating him so hard that he actually received damage in his brain. And he died some time later from this. So we don't have a guaranteed future. You can have like a car accident. You can enter a plane and the plane never arrives at the destination. Like, you don't know what will happen tomorrow, what will happen now. Like after this video, I could leave my room and I don't know, I go shopping and across the street, a car driver is not stopping and crashes into me. Like anything can happen. Like that's why we have to be very, very careful and live every day like it's the last, right? And by living every day like it's the last, I don't mean live every day for like pleasure and haram things. No, live every day like you could meet your creator any given day. Because it could be your last day. That's how you should live and do tawbah constantly.
This is an unsinkable ship.
That's true. Yeah, but that's true. We only live once. We only have one test. We can't redo this test. You pass, fail. It's ultimately. It's like it's like this, right? Like they say, you only live once, and you can also view this from an Islamic perspective. You only live once. That means you only have one test. Either you pass it or you fail it. You cannot redo this test. If you fail this exam, it's over. There's no second exam. Ugh.
The project is literally the secularization of the world. to completely strip the world from religious beliefs.
Yeah, and
this
morals.
is the project, and that is why it is called Novus Ordo Seclorum. Novus Ordo Seclorum. Novus Ordo Seclorum.
We have people addicted to these things. They're أرأيت الذي اتخذ إلهه هواه. Haven't you seen the one who took his desires as a god? If you're obeying these desires, you are making these desires your God. And Allah is a jealous God. إنه غيور يغار على دينه وعلى طاعته.
Before the rise of materialism, people used to put time for real values of life. They were focusing more on morality and obedience to God. But today even Muslims are falling for this trap.
That's actually true with technology. Yeah. Like you see this a lot now, right? Like back in the day, you will have like magazines you read through to, for example, buy something, right? And now you have like all those advertisements, those clips for like, I don't know, for anything like cars, even with girls and this and that, a'udhu billah. And yeah, like look at like Facebook now. You guys also got this some time ago, right? Where it says Facebook will now be with ads, right? And I actually had a look at some of those ads. I thought it was going to be harmless ads, but a lot of haram stuff appears on those ads on Facebook, for example. And I was like, whoa, what is going on there? Is this now a fitna book or what? Like, what is happening here? Facebook became fitna book. Like, seriously. Online shopping, yeah. Like online shopping is not necessarily a bad thing, it just depends on how you're shopping and if it's a healthy amount also you're buying, right? It makes things easier too. Yeah. The lower class?
Shaitan makes these people fear from poverty and commands them to go for immorality.
Yeah.
Which means that he leads them to haram
so they're
just
not poor.
because of achieving some wealth.
That's actually how gangs are also being made, right? Like if you look at like gangsters, they usually come from like a lower class, right? Like if you look at like the ghetto, for example, and stuff, right? Like those people, they become like thugs and gangsters. And the reason why they become this is because Shaitan says if you join a gang, you do this and that, you maybe gonna be more wealthy or something, right? Yeah, they also doing like some like very crazy methods to actually make money.
That he leads them to haram just because of
Or the
achieving some
drugs, right? Even they sell this and stuff.
For this group of people, Shaitan offers the worldly pleasures and convinces them that they deserve to achieve those desires, making them busy with the dunya until they leave this world.
Yeah, I think that's most people.
These are the people who sell their souls in exchange for wealth, power, or fame.
Oh yeah.
They must do whatever the system wants.
Actors,
from them.
artists
Shaitan
and stuff,
promises
right?
you for gaining wealth, fame, and power, and pulls you to the downhill of materialism. But at the end, you will be the one who is under the heavy debts from those who run the system. Unless you become one of them, which still makes you even more sad because those who run the system are the ones who are heavily under the pressure from Satan himself.
Wow.
You know why? Because those who seem to have power are having no freedom of choice. Whatever they say is the things that are being dictated to them.
Yeah,
Those
politicians
choices that
even.
they make are in reality made by those who are behind the scene.
Yeah, I've heard this also about the music industry, right? Where certain labels are saying you have to do this kind of music. And at first, when they signed the contract, they thought, oh, I'm going to be an independent artist, right? The label is just my kind of like sponsor or supporter, right? But then the label dictates, oh, you do this kind of music video. What, you have a girlfriend now or married? It doesn't matter. You still need to put those lightly dressed women in the music video. We don't care if your wife gets jealous or your girlfriend. you want to talk about positivity, about motivation, how like people should actually focus on themselves and make a good career, this and that. No. You have to make music about partying and the nightlife and this and that. Like, it's actually the same with like the music industry, actually. I think the music industry is a good example, right? Like how people are selling their souls. Like, look at how dirty those lyrics are. And it's actually sad because I've heard that some artists would like to go a different direction, but they can't because they get kicked out of the label, or it is somehow made where they no longer make money with their songs or something. So artists are under a lot of pressure actually in the music industry to make a lot of haram songs and stuff. And I'm not saying like music is halal or something, okay? Don't get me wrong, like music is still haram, but they want to make it double haram basically, right? So like you have one haram element, but they add a second haram element, so the punishment gets even heavier, right? It's like not stealing from one, but like from two people or something. That's like a double sin, right? Like, oh, sin for making music, but also sin for making bad music. So it's twice the haram.
Made by those who are behind the scene, which means they are all the puppets who are supposed to follow the commands of the evil masters. And in fact, this leads to ultimate sadness. The more you get in touch with the dunya, the more closer you get to Iblis. And you might reach those levels of wealth, power and fame. But at the end of the day, you will come to know that in reality you have no power or wealth.
If your ultimate goal is to be famous, then you're gonna do a lot to get there, like sign your name in blood in a contract with the devil. Like you're gonna end up on a one-way street and it's going nowhere. Like that's just the truth. I've seen so many people like forsake their moral code and their value systems just for a little bit of fame, and it's not worth it at the end.
Yeah, if you're like in a K-pop group, let's use K-pop for example, right? Like there can be a girl that is like very shy, very like good manners, right? And then they join like some K-pop girl group, and the label actually makes them dress with little clothing on, but before they actually like to have longer clothes and stuff. So it's kind of like you're selling your morals. Like you want to be a good girl, you want to like one day get married, wait for marriage before you expose yourself or something, right? And they do like all those kind of crazy stuff. Or like if you look at like I said again with like the music industry, right? Like you want to rap about like making it out of the ghetto, you want to, you know, have your life, save your family, this and that, and then at some point they say, now rap about zina, rap about drugs, this and that. And you don't have a choice actually, because if you don't do it, you get like either kicked out of the label, or they make it so where you are going to be less sponsored or one of the less successful artists under the label. And it's not even because what you produce is bad, but because they will not push it out as much as the other artists and stuff. So it's like an outside influence that is dictating how you should act and behave. So it's either directly where like those famous people are being contacted and they say do this and that, or it's going to be done indirectly by making their surroundings turn against them in a way, and they're actually influencing this, and that this happens. So you're like pressuring artists or actors to do certain things. Or if you're an actor and you are like let's say you're a child actor, right, and you're in some sort of cartoon sort of like or harmless movie, when you get older they will say, hey, do a zina scene, kiss another actor, do this and that. So there's like the morality that's gone. So in order to produce a movie and for fame, you have to do zina, or you have to do this and that, and maybe you get roles that don't even befit your moral stance. And this is the issue actually. Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's really not worth it.
When people say, oh, I want to be like you, I want to be an actor, I want to look like you, the question I always ask them is why? Like, really, why? Because money. And people, and especially America, this idea of fame. So
they think about wealth, I think.
To be famous means that you're successful, that you're happy.
We are told that if we're beautiful, if we're skinny, if we're successful, famous, if we fit in, if everyone loves us, that we'll be happy. But
no,
that's not entirely true.
That's
helping each other through scary times and like anxiety. You know? Some dark shit out there, man. So we just have to like be there for each other as much as we can. can.
I so badly want to be Catherine Hudson that I don't even want to look like Katy Perry anymore sometimes.
Wow.
And like, that is a little bit of why I cut my hair, is because I really want to be my authentic self.
Yeah, but that is true. Like, look at the industry. Like, do you guys remember, like, this was actually a big thing in the news, like how Britney Spears actually went bald and shaved her head and had like some family issues. Like, how often do they also divorce? Like, if you look at like a lot of actors and famous singers, some of them are already with on their second or third divorce even. Some have children from previous partnerships and then they have a child with a new person, then with a new person again. There are some people that have like children from 3 different people. Like, how often do they get separated? Sometimes they shave off their hair. You find them somewhere drunk laying on the street, or they're going to psychology sessions with a psychologist and stuff, right? Where they're getting some mental care by someone, like, oh, everything's going to be right. Here's some happy pills. Swallow this. You will feel better. Like, a lot of famous people, even if they are millionaires, they are depressed, they're not happy, because the only happiness comes from having a purpose and meaning in life. And the meaning in life and the purpose in life, and this is what we Muslims learn from the Quran and from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is to worship Allah. So if an individual creates a connection to his or her creator, to Allah, this is the only way you can find happiness in this dunya. Like, you can only find it through Islam, through Allah.
I was a millionaire. I had beautiful women in my life. I had cars, a house, an incredible, a solid gold career, and a future. And yet, on a daily basis, I wanted to commit suicide.
Yeah.
I mean, it allows you freedom and allows you to go places where you can smile and look at the sunset and things like that. That's what you choose to do and you enjoy to do. Right. But there are a lot of people with tons of money who are unhappy.
That's
Indeed,
true.
The inner peace will be achieved.
Money doesn't bring
through
happiness.
Nutrition of soul, not through worldly pleasures. And worldly pleasures make you sad because you will never be satisfied with what you have got. And it is because this world offers you more and more and pulls you towards the edges of abyss.
اعلموا أنما الحياة الدنيا لعب وله وزينة وتفاخر بينكم وتكاثر في الأموال والأولاد كمثل غيث أعجب الكفار نباته ثم يهيج فتراه مصفرا ثم يكون حطاما وفي الآخرة عذاب شديد ومغفرة من الله ورضوان وما الحياة الدنيا إلا متاع الغرور.
True. Yeah. And this is also the purpose why we were created. We were created to worship Allah. Like, what is the meaning of the life of the human? Why was Adam alayhi salam created? To worship Allah. If you're going against your purpose, like the reason why you were created, you're not gonna function, of course. Like, you can't make a fish fly, right? A fish lives in the water. You know, it's the nature of the fish. Just like it's our nature to worship Allah. You can't make a fish flying, right?
We dedicate all of our life on these illusory desires which will never bring satisfaction, because everything is illusion. And that's how we forgot to feed our soul. Or in other words, we have no time to concentrate on our soul because this system is cleverly designed to keep us attached to this dunya. And that's exactly the reality of this test. You can either focus on this dunya or focus on hereafter. And the choice is yours.
Hereafter is better. Because it's the only thing that actually matters. Wow, that was a good video. Yeah. But this is the sad reality, and now we live in a day and age where we have social media, and social media has become a poison too. And I suggest some people to actually distance themselves even from social media. And I'm gonna tell you guys why. And it's especially also hurtful for our sisters in Islam, right? Because you see other women post images of, oh, I bought this and that, my husband is rich. Oh, look, my husband, look at this and that. Like, even some sisters make other sisters jealous. May Allah protect us from this, I mean, right? And like how some guys are posting pictures of their new car, their new apartment houses. They're showing off their fitna girlfriend or something, right? And you as a Muslim think, oh, that's a righteous woman. This girl that this guy got from a nightclub that only stays with him for 1-2 years and then jumps to the new guy anyway, right? So it gives us Muslims even delusions of what sort of spouse we should pick. Like, sisters are seeing this guy that's like showing off his wealth, and they think this is the right husband to go for. While this guy doesn't even pray or do anything, he doesn't even benefit you for the akhirah. He's just a rich guy, right? But one with like an evil soul. Or this one sister that's like going partying and all that, like brothers are thinking, oh, I want a wife like this. Yeah, have fun. You have a wife like this, you're gonna be divorced, 1-2 kids. You have to pay freaking child care all the time, right? Like, you're gonna lose your money, you're not gonna be with that person. Or like people showing off their houses, like pushing people and tempting them to now do riba and take some sort of credit or something with riba, right? So they can like pay for the house. Like, this is very dangerous. And in media, people are showing off. Like, social media, you should not use social media to show off. If you use like social media to teach others about Islam, to do dawah, like, you can say like social media is like a double-edged sword, right? With one, you cut yourself, right? Because you look at like all the bad influence and the bad things, right? But on one hand, you can actually use the social media to do good, right? To create awareness of Islam, to teach people about Islam, to do dawah. You can give maybe some videos that are beneficial for society, right? Like cooking tutorials, right? Or how to make a tent outside, right? Like, oh, you make a tent like this. Or how to make a campfire. How to survive in the wilds. You can make a documentary about the life of animals or something, right? You can teach math maybe online, Arabic, the Quran. Like, there's so many ways to use social media in a halal way, right? And I sometimes wish we had also more filters to filter fitna and stuff out, but unfortunately there aren't so many filters. But yeah, you have to be really, really careful how you use social media, because you can use it and get even good deeds from doing this, right? By spreading awareness and stuff or teaching Islam. You get actually good deeds for that, right? But you can also get bad deeds by looking at forbidden things and stuff, right? So social media is, yeah, like a double-edged sword. Be careful for it, and may Allah protect everyone from this and from getting too attached to this dunya. I mean, because this dunya is just temporary. Let's focus on the akhirah. Yeah, may Allah keep us firm on the deen. I mean, I wish everyone a wonderful day, and I will see you guys next time, inshallah.